Right, g'day everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Eccles Backyard Cricket Association podcast. It's just something we've been looking to do for a while, and we're glad that we're able to get around to it. We're looking forward to bringing you the first episode here today. So I'm joined by a pretty experienced panel, I guess you could say. To my right, I've been here since day dot, James Rizio. Thanks for jumping on, mate.
Thanks, Brodie. Thanks for having me.
No worries. And on the end of the table down there, in the furphy lid, we got another one who's been around for a while, Campbell Gurney. Thanst, mate.
Thanks, Brodie. Appreciate it. Good to be at the home of the EBCA.
That's it, mate. And finally, to my left, probably the newest member out of the panel here. Been here since December 2019. Jordan Allen. Thanks for jumping on, mate.
Great to be here.
Fantastic. Righto. We'll get straight into things. So today's episode, we'll be taking a look briefly at the EBCA, just a little brief history, what we are, what we do, and the format of our tournaments. Then we'll be taking a look at the draft for the T10 tournament this year. We'll be taking a look at the players that are likely to be in the draft pool, and a couple of predictions as well to finish things off. So without further ado, we'll get straight into things. The EBCA, or the Eccles Backyard Cricket Association, was established in 2017, and we operate 2 tournaments each summer, one being the Backyard Ashes, which is participated between the Creams and the Yellows, and that began in 2017 with 2 day-night games. Over the 5 series that we've had, the Yellows have come out on top in 4, and there's been 1 drawn series, which was in 2018, so the Yellows have had the rub of the green in that one. And then our T10 tournament was introduced in March 2019. A limited overs format, looking to get a few more people involved. We have 4 teams of 5 a side, 10 overs for each side, and each bowler bowls 2 overs. And our previous successes in this tournament: Box Hill in March 2019, the Bread and Baronia side December 2019, and in 2020 Smoko came out victorious. And over our 5 years of EBCA backyard cricket, we've had 35 players participate, which is great, and it looks like that number could grow by a couple more this year. So we're looking forward to getting some more involved. And next up, we'll move on to the T10, and we'll take a look at our captains and teams for this year's tournament. And we'll begin with Bangers and Smash, to be led by James Rizio. What's the thinking behind the name there, Riz?
Thanks, Brodie. Yeah, so I got the honour of being the captain of the Bangers and Smash team. The name goes back to my love of food, love of pub food especially, as well as somehow mixing that in with cricket. So obviously with the T10 there's a lot of big hits and smashing of the ball. So yeah, thought I'd bring up a terrible sort of pun, dad joke, and run with it. And I think it's got some good reception so far. Yeah,
it's gone down pretty well. The logo's gone down pretty well as well with the voice. So.
Yeah, I think we're having a few good laughs with all the logos and going out with it. So yeah, so far so good.
Beautiful. And our second team up, led by debutant in 2020, Griffin Sprague, is the Active Roosters. Cash Cow Corner, one of the better names going around. That's led by super coach expert, however has never played the game, Alex McArthur. And the Freight Train's led by the Genesis Gym Junkie Abdullah Shiraz. And all those teams have currently got logos which have been made thanks to Riz and JR Design, one of our sponsors here at the EBCA. So thanks for your work, James. And get around JR Design for all your logo and branding idea needs. So
good, thank
fantastic.
You. Nice plug, yeah.
How much are you paying him again?
Righto. Let's get into the draft. So the format for this year's T10 draft will be a lottery for the first round, which is followed by a snake draft. So A, B, C, D, D, C, B, A. And I'll throw it out to the floor, boys. What do we think? What's the best pick pick to get in the draft. It is randomly chosen for the first rounds in the lottery. But if you could have a choice, what would you go for? I'll go to my right, Riz. What are you saying?
Yep, so I'd probably go with the third group, so pick 3, 6, 11, 14. Sort of probably the best sort of well-rounded players and good blend you can have. So obviously, to have 3 would be really good. 6, would be a great pickup, and in 11, it gives you a good chance to pick up someone who may have slid under the radar. And someone at 14 could be a potential debutante or someone who has a breakout year. So I'd probably lean towards that, or either the pick 1.
Yep.
Gurns?
I'd say still pick 1. I reckon it'd be the best pick of the draft. You basically guaranteed the best player in the comp. Well, it's in your opinion. But then due to the depth of the competition, you still will get some very decent players with your pick 8 and then also your pick 9. We saw Cuckoo last year, Luke Kukurusevic. He went at pick 10. And he came out with 143 runs, average 71, and winning a strike rate of 217, and he ended up being one of the key factors to Team Smoko's premiership. So I do think pick 1 and then pick 8, then pick 9 due to the depth.
Yep.
Yeah, from experience, I've learned not to go with pick 1, even though you sort of get thrown with it. But I'd go pick 3, 6, 11, 14. You get the best. You get to pick the best all-round side because you got probably the best picks in the middle of the draft there in the early rounds. The 6 and the 11, you can always steal someone like Luke Kukurusevic. Like Luke Kuku last year.
That's it. Just roll with Cuckoo.
Yeah, we'll just roll with Cuckoo.
Roll with Cuckoo.
Or just Luke. There's no other Lukes, I don't think. So yeah.
What's Davo?
I'll round out with a little chime in. I agree with you lads about pick 3, 6, 11 and 14. At pick 3 you're still going to get a superstar, and even at pick 6 you could pick up a quality player that's just missed out on the first round. I do like pick 1, the pick 1 note as well. 1, 8 and 9 you're guaranteed, as Gurn said, pretty much the best player in the pool. And then 8 and 9, you get some quality players as well, especially with the depth increasing now at the association as well. And I guess depending on your captain as well, if your captain is a top player, you've got 4 absolute guns pretty much out of your 5 players. So for me, those are the 2 that kind of stand out. So it'll be interesting to see which sides pick up what, and who goes where in regards to that one. So,
and also, I think due to the depth, I think the 16th player, he's no dummy either.
Oh, exactly. Couldn't agree more. It's going to be it's going to be a really good pool this year, and we're really looking forward to how that all pans out. And without further ado, we're going to take a look at the players that are going to be in the draft pool for this year, and kind of what they offer, and how we think they're going to go this year. So we'll go through alphabetical order, and I'll throw it out to the floor straight after I chat these dot points out. So first up, it's a skipper of the freight trains for this year, Abdullah Shiraz, and he's been a dominant figure over this format for many years now. 390 runs at 48.75. He's the all-time leading T10 run scorer, and he's got 350s, striking at 220.34, and he's the only person to knock up a century in this format, where he put together 112 off 35 balls against Hughes last year. Absolutely dispatched us all over the park. He's yet to take a wicket in this format though, so that's probably the only thing holding him back from being the complete T10 player. What are we saying about AB, boys?
Yeah, best bat in comp, in my view. Nearly 400 runs is just incredible achievement. And also pretty high strike rate, anything over 200's outstanding. So, obviously you've got to lift a little bit with the ball. But I think if he wasn't a captain, he'd definitely be in the top 4 at the draft. But so AB outstanding and should be a good leader for his side as well. Yeah,
terrific return to form last year after a pretty dismal 2019, I must say. I think bowling to him last year, if you just if you put it short, he'll just whack you all over the ground. I do think the wicket tally doesn't quite do him justice. He is a pretty decent bowler. He does chuck in the occasional wrong, and he can place it well. So yeah, one of the best players in the comp, in my opinion. He'd be close to a top 4 pick, I would have thought.
Yeah, if he wasn't captain, he'd be probably either 1 or 2, in my opinion. Unstoppable with the bat. Unfortunately, the bowling needs a bit, but I mean, he's captaining this year, and he'll step up his game, I reckon.
Yeah. Next up, a pretty consistent performer, does the job for you. Brodie Adakara. So 94 runs at 18.8, strike rate just over 100 at 109.3, and a high score of 29 not out off 24 against Smoko last year. Interesting thing I found was he's got 5 not outs in 10 career innings, so he loves a bit of red ink to push that average up. He's got 2 wickets at an average of 108 and economy of 14. What are we saying about Brodie, boys?
Yeah, obviously he's got a couple of good sort of cameos with that 29 not out and that 10 not out, and can sort of partner well with an established batsman, say, if someone's in their 40s or 50s and just needs a helping hand, and Brodie comes in, it's a great result. So yeah, usually around that 4 or 5 in the order, and can spring up and take a wicket if need be. So yeah, that's probably summing up Adisha.
If I picked him up in the draft, I'd be very happy knowing that I could just put him down at number 4 and number 5, and he could just do his bit with the bat. I think, especially playing against him, being from the Smokos, I think the game in the regular season where he came in at number 3 and he just sent them to all parts of the ground, 20, 29, 24, and then in the final helped the All Australian Umps when they were in a bit of strife, and helped out with Jack Mack to bring him to a pretty respectable total. And no slouch of the ball either. Can put it in the right spot. Definitely one to watch.
Yeah, definitely a consistent player. Like, you know what you're getting with Adisha. You ask him to make 30 for you, make 30 in a T10 very easily, like he's done with Jack Mack against Smoko last year. All-round decent player. You take him in the draft.
Yeah, very good. You'd expect him to go maybe early in the 3rd round, you'd probably say, boys? Maybe with that sort of number 9, 10-ish pick?
Yeah, expecting a bit higher. Yeah. Because obviously last year was at 14, and obviously.
Yeah, absolute steal he was.
Yeah. Might be around the 12 mark in my view.
10 to 12.
Mid-3rd.
Righto. An established player over the EBCA throughout its history. He's been there since the start. Aidan Miller. Very good player in this format, 259 runs at 51.8 with 2 50s and a strike rate of 225.22. High score of 70 off 29 balls, as well as 4 wickets at 48.75, economy of 13, and best bowling of 2 for 17 against Box Hill Blacks in December 2019. I think this format suits him beautifully with the bat, boys. One of the best bats going around in this tournament, and he hits a pretty big ball. What do we think about him?
Not just batting as well. His bowling's pretty consistent, especially with the tape tennis ball. He does a bit of damage with it, and takes key wickets, and that's why he's probably suited for this format. Very dangerous.
Yeah, the most underrated player in the competition. That's what I think. I think when I first did come to the EBCA for that Ashes, he's misconsistent. I think whenever he bats, he just gives you that total to give your team a respectable total. With the ball as well, I must say he's one of the hardest players to face personally, because he's quite tall, so he does get a little bit of bouncy. He's not the fastest bloke going around, but he just puts it in that spot, that nagging spot, and he's very, very hard to face. So I think without a doubt he'll definitely be in the 1st, 2nd round. Could even sneak into that top 4, maybe the 4 to 6 range. Yeah. But if you're picking him, I know what I'll be getting.
Yeah, I think his batting resembles the Flintstones character of Bam Bam. Just holds the bat and just whacks everything that he sees. So, really strong hitter of the ball, picks the gaps and hits lots of boundaries. So, looking forward to see what Aidan offers to the table this season.
Awesome. Righto, next up we got the skipper for Cash Cow Corner this year. Spartans' very own Alex McArthur. I guess a format you could say that's quite suited to him, considering he does enjoy hitting the ball aerial. And his stats, as we have a look here, so he's got 20 runs at an average of 4, strike rate of 74, high score of 12 off 11 against the All-Australian umps last year, in which they were in early trouble actually, Smoko, about 3 for 30, and he hung around with James Rizzio, and they put on 93, which was a record 4th wicket partnership, which saw Smoko to a competitive score of 119. He's got 5 wickets as well to add to his batting resume. 5 wickets at 69.4, economy of 20.17, maybe a touch on the expensive side, but a strike rate of 20, so he's getting a wicket pretty much once every 1.5 games for you. What are our thoughts on the Cash Cow Corner skipper?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he leads the side. Obviously doesn't really have much of a cricket background in terms of being at a club, so that'll be really interesting, and I'm sure he's going to absolutely love it. And yeah, obviously can hold a stick, can really good with rotating the strike, similar to Adisha in terms of helping out that established batsman who's been in for a little bit longer, and to take 5 wickets in the EBCA T10 so far is really, really impressive. So yeah, can't wait to see how Alex goes with 2021.
Yeah, speaking on what Riz said, it'll be really interesting to see if he does lead out the team in just singlets, or is he just going to go shirtless. So that's the main thing. But I love this bloke. I think from when I started, I reckon I've been on his team for every single year. I think going from the Yellows, Smoko last year. He's and terrific bloke off the field as well. Does love a celebration, does he ever? Especially when he snagged that wicket at Camp Bliss. I've never seen a bloke so happy. His face just lit up the entire park. Gave me a big hug. It's what you love to see. But he's very handy with the ball. Very handy with the ball.
Yeah, he's. It'd be interesting to see how he goes captaining wise, but I think the T10 does suit him with no out over the fence, so he can hit a big ball, and very suited to him.
Yeah, very good. Interesting to see how he goes, and interested to see what type of side he picks come draft night. Ben Roach is next up, another established member of the association, been around since the start, and he will be taking part in his 3rd T10 tournament. So he's established 29 runs at 7.25, a strike rate of 50, so a bit on the slower side. High score 16 off 27 rocks against the Cunning Stunts in December 2019. And he's got 2 wickets, an average of 89.5, and they both came in one game against Kiff's crew in December 2019. And he's got an economy of 19.19. So what do we think about Roachy, boys? What do we think? What's he going to bring to the table in this year's tournament?
So I reckon probably be a 4th rounder, but obviously very established both in the backyard and T10. Can offer very good sort of insights with potentially a bowling option, a batting option with what's going to happen next. Obviously can hold up an end, and hopefully this year he can sort of help sort of tick over a little bit more and help a more established bat take strike. Obviously a couple of wickets, and I think he's a better bowler than just the 2 wickets he's had so far. And that's sort of about it on Roachy in my view. Gurns?
Interesting to see where he would go in the draft. If Headphones doesn't end up picking him, could potentially be around 3. we saw that against saw that between the Smokos and who did he play for last year again?
Yeah, he played for the Tradies.
That's the one, and then last year with Boxer Blacks.
Yeah,
it was just an enthralling contest. So it'd be interesting to see if it goes around again. But good bowler. I think, 2 for none was off 2 balls with his left arm off his. Like Dosman, he'll just put it in that spot, and that'll just tempt batsmen to go large, and could be getting some wickets. Very, very watchful batsman.
Yeah, it brings another dimension to the field as well, especially he's very vocal on the field, and the way he is vocal, he gets you an extra 2 wickets just by putting the batsman on.
Yeah.
So yeah, he brings that other dimension.
Yeah, very well known for his chirp. But yeah, I agree. Just probably needs to work on ticking over the strike a little bit more, even just with singles. And yeah, that'll go a long way to bumping up those stats a little bit and doing his job. I think Riz was going to take us to the next one, I believe.
Yeah, so next player on our list here is Brodie Eccles. So go through some career stats about Brodie. So 264 runs at an average of 52.8. Right up there in terms of the batting department in the group. He's had 250s, a strike rate of 201.53. Anything over 200 is exceptional. Highest score of 89 not out versus the tradies in 2020. And he has the highest first wicket T10 partnership of 156 not out with Griffin against the tradies sort of still in a bit of shock as to how that sort of happened, not from the Brodie end but more from the Griff end, because obviously Brodie did the heavy lifting in that partnership. So yeah, and obviously being quite a tall fella, obviously the 7 wickets at 15.86 is exceptional. Economy of 10.09 is outstanding, with the best bowling figures of 2 for 12 versus Heathmont in the inaugural competition of the T10 back in March 2019. So yeah, obviously he's up there with the high picks for this season. He'll definitely be in the top 4. Obviously knows a lot about his cricket with a lot of a Premier cricket background. Now with a transfer to Dandenong, so that'll be exciting for him. And obviously there's a lot of sort of pressure around him, but Brodie handles it really, really well. So, yeah, that's sort of about it about Broads. Gurns?
Mr. Consistent of the EBCA, that's for sure. You know what you're going to get from this bloke. He's a John Nicholas medalist for a reason. But in all seriousness, I think he's been the best bat in the competition for a number of years now. As he said before, in his score, he's got 162 runs, average of 162, strike rate of 205. So you know what you're going to get. Very, very hard to face, I must say, especially face him in the Ashes, because he's quite tall, so gets a bit of bounce and he just puts it in that same spot. So potential top 4 pick. I think he will go in the top 4. If he goes second round, that's just an absolute steal.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Gurn. He'll definitely be in the top 4, maybe even the top 2. The leader newspaper love him. The key Frankston player, but now he's got the Dandenong, so brings that dimension. The first one's Premier cricketer in the backyard can definitely whack him. So
yep.
Got him.
Bring it on. Looking forward to it. So
pressure's on you now.
Oh yeah, plenty of pressure in there. Cammy Bliss is next up on the agenda. Debuted in last year's tournament for the All Australian Umps. Managed 48 runs at 24, struck at 141.18, and he knocked up 37 for his high score in the final against Smoko. And he came together with Jatnak, and they put on 94 for the 3rd wicket, which is the record partnership for that stand in the T10 format. 2 wickets at 40.5 and an economy of 11.57, so pretty standard stuff. What are we saying, boys? Say pretty handy role player, and he's good with bat ball and in the field. So I think he's one you'd love to have on your team. I think.
Yeah, 100%. And he's pretty consistent, especially in the T10. He can slap a few, and if you need him to sort of rescue an innings or steady the ship, he'll definitely do it for you. And he's handy with the ball as well.
Yeah, definitely got that basketball background, so moves well around the field. Sort of a little bit of a dangerous bowler in terms of the height, and sort of gets a bit out of the wicket, and also just got those limbs in which you can just whack the ball. So yeah, pretty consistent player, and has been loving it so far. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how Cam goes this season.
Yeah, similar to Odesha, I think if I had to choose him, I'd be very happy to put him at 3-4, just high up and end. Unfortunately, I think he'd like to have his time again against headphones in the final. But now hopefully can I get past that. But also very handy bar, again very, very tall, so he'd be getting a fair bit of bounce. But definitely one for sure to watch up.
Fantastic. Yeah, looking at I think a late second rounder, Cammy Bliss. So
went pretty early last year. Went pick 6.
Yeah, it's pick 6, yeah. So no, he's a handy player. So he'll be good. He'll be a good asset for whatever team he ends up on. Next up, very established player. He's proven himself in this tournament over the last 2 years. Campbell Gurney, 135 runs at 67.5 and a strike rate of 198.53, which is fantastic. High score of 44 not out in that infamous game against Bredin Baronia back in 2019. For all the wrong reasons, I think, for Campbell. I think he was about 44 off about 13 as well. And then those 5 dots to close out the game really just stung the strike rate a little bit there.
You just have to chuck that in, didn't you?
Yeah, always. one of the most well-known moments in T10 history, that one. And with the ball, 3 wickets at 27.67. And I think the most important stat in this one, or for this tournament, is the economy here of 7.9. I think anything under 10 is brilliant, and to be sub 8 here is just shows his class with the ball. And also noted here that he's got 5 catches and 2 run-outs in the 2 tournaments that he's played in, so very handy in the field, and definitely formed quite a lethal partnership with James Rizzio in the field last year for Smoko. So good all-round bat ball field. I'm seeing him going in the first round without a doubt. What do we think?
He was a very good second pick last year. Who did you play for?
Smoko, mate.
Smoko,
yeah. Nangle, won that one. And great second pick and consistent, which is very good in T10.
Yeah, I think with the bat, obviously one of the highest averages that we have in the list. Can take a wicket. Look, should probably have at least 5 or 6 wickets, and obviously that's probably going to happen this season. And then obviously, just took the keeping role just to a whole other level with the catches and the run-outs and that. So sort of another dimension to Cam Gurney's game, and see what happens this season.
How you feeling about things for this year, Gerns?
Yeah, not bad. Hopefully I can score a couple more runs that I did last year. Be interested to see what my average would have been if I made a couple more runs last year. But as I've already said, I do pride my game on my keeping. So it was nice to take a couple of catches last year and form that relationship with Riz. But looking forward to it. And hoping it's another great season ahead.
Yeah, fantastic. As you said with last year, I think the depth of the Smoko batting lineup is probably something that needs to be taken into consideration. What'd you knock up runs-wise? 21 runs at 21. You only had the 2 innings in the group stage, and then in the final came in and hit 6 off 1 ball to win the final.
I've never been more nervous.
But I think the depth of that Smoko lineup last year was outstanding. So he'll probably he'll bat pretty high this year, I reckon, and there's plenty of runs coming his way. Righto. A very public figure of the association up next. There's always controversy surrounding this fella, and that's Brodie Eccles. 195 runs at an average of 27.86. He's got the highest strike rate in this tournament with 250, which is outrageous, and a high score of 56 not out. He's only got the 150 to his name. However, with the ball, this is where he really comes into his own here. 10 wickets at an average of 11.6. He's the leading wicket taker in T10 history, and an economy of 6.74, which is the best in the association, which is absolutely ridiculous. A strike rate of 10.3, and a best bowling of 2 for 2 off 2 overs. Again, just insane. 4 catches and 2 stumpings as well, so he's very dynamic in the field. However, there is a bit of an injury cloud surrounding this fella. Potentially unable to bowl this year with a shoulder injury, so that could be huge come the draft. Could be a gamble taking him, but I think you'd expect his batting to lift this year. He's struggled a little bit in the runs department. He's kind of known for getting off to a flyer and sort of throwing it away, so it'll be interesting to see if he can convert those into some bigger scores this year. What do we think, boys?
Yeah, look, I think his strike rate of 250 resembles the speed he gets up to on his motorbike. But obviously, very well-established player, very good with the bat, and obviously can swing around corners with his bowling. So, obviously, really well-rounded player. couple of issues with attitude, but I mean, sometimes that happens, whether it's at EBCA level or state cricket or international cricket. There's always going to be a really good player who just has a bit of a crappy attitude. So we'll wait and see what happens. But obviously, very, very good player. A bit of doubt about his injury, but I think he should be okay. Relying that he doesn't rock up and tips his motorbike over. So we'll see what happens.
I was going to say, I thought you were going to say he swings around quarters on his motorbike as well.
He very well might, but he does a bit with the ball, yeah.
But no, I think regardless whether he does carry that injury into the tournament, I think if I had the first pick, I'd be choosing him as well. He's very dynamic with the bat, especially bowling to myself. If you just put it short, he'll just whack you to all places. I think his average is a bit low for my liking. If he just goes on with it, you'd see that average push into the 40s and maybe the 50s. With the bowling, he bowls absolute gas. I think gave Rizio an absolute peach in the final.
Yep, absolutely.
I think he's still got a couple of nightmares about it.
Absolutely hoops him.
I'm still bamboozled from it. Yeah.
Gave me an absolute peach, I think, as well in the regular season. But bowls gas, very hard to face. Definitely one of the top picks.
Yeah, 100%. And loves a tape tennis ball, as Riz has found out, that can hoop it. And definitely one of the best players in the tournament.
Yeah. I think we can all agree that despite the injury card, he's probably still a lock for the first round.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic. Right over, that's it for Cody. And next up, Daniel Mcarthur. Quite an energetic fella to say the least. And we'll go through a little bit of his stats here. So 14 runs at 4.67, strike rate of 28. Probably needs to tick that one over a little bit more. High score of 10 not out off 27 against the All-Australian umps last year, but he did his job, held up an end for Brodie. He's got 4 wickets at 41, economy of 16.4, and his best bowling is 1 for 17 off 1. So he chips in with those 1 wicket games. No real standout bowling performances, but he'll just plug away for you. And I think that's what his role will be for whatever side he ends up on this year. What are our thoughts on this one, gentlemen?
Yeah, probably a 4th round pick.
Brutal.
But I think, obviously, just is very enthusiastic and very energetic. Probably because of all the soft drink he drinks on the day. So he's always hyped up. But obviously, with his high score, 10 not out of 27, if he can bring that to, say, like 10 off 12 or 10 off 15, that would be a really good improvement to his game. And that would be a valuable contribution to whichever team he's a part of this year.
One of the most interesting characters of the EBCA, I reckon. Definitely one of the most energetic blokes I've ever met. The bloke just does not stand still. But a terrific bloke off the field as well. The batting doesn't really do him justice. But bowling, he's very, very handy. I found, especially in the 2019 series, the Boxer Blacks, I gave him the job to tie up one end, and he did his job. And especially in that game, did tie it up. So, I agree. Probably a 4th round pick, but again, good role player.
Yeah, definitely plays his role really well. And has a different aspect with the ball. Like, he can throw down some interesting deliveries.
I wanted you to go on it.
They can be little hand grenades. Hard to say. But he can be very underrated with the ball, and that's where he's
flies under the radar.
Yeah, definitely flies under the radar for sure. I agree. Probably a 4th rounder. But can play his role and do a job. Next up, we got the skipper of the active Roosters, 2020 debutant Griffin Sprague. Decent tournament last year. Probably didn't start off the way he would have liked with the first baller, but managed 62 runs at 31, striking at 159. And he knocked up a half century, unbeaten against the tradies. In which him and B. Eccles put on 156 unbeaten. He managed 1 wicket, average of 56. Interesting economy of 24.03. I think the main talking point about this fella is the controversy surrounding his coaching appointment at Old Paradians. Something that's been heavily questioned on the Subbies Big Cricket Forum. What can you tell us about that one, Gurney? Do you know a little bit about that?
Yeah, I do. I've known Griffin for quite a while, just in relation to his operators gig. He does love a recruiting strategy. He's been going around to everyone, I think, trying to lure him to the operating side down at Bundoora, and I don't think that's gone successfully well. But in relation to the T10 tournament, yeah, fair to say he did get off to a pretty slow start, did walk past the first pill. But yeah, 62 runs at 31. He did bat well with Eccles that day, and with the balls, not too bad either. So again, pretty good role player, and interested to see how he goes up for a bit of retribution, I think.
Yeah, first tournament, obviously that you get those debut nerves and that, so hopefully that was the excuse, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, obviously, see what happens this season. I think both the batting and the probably not the bowling actually will improve.
We did have a hit with him the other day, and it's fair to say they were coming down probably at sub 50k an hour, and they were not doing anything. So
it needs the sidearm.
Oh god, yeah. And Jonathan,
yeah,
keep going.
Drive bud. No, nothing to add here. He does like walking past deliveries, and yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen this year for the active Roosters stake.
Yeah, that's it. Interesting to see how he leads as well, skippering for the first time. He was pretty much begging me for a chance to captain this year, and he's got it. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes and what his strategy is come the draft.
And I think the rumour is, if he does get the first pick, I've heard off the bat he'll be picking Jordan Allen as his first pick.
I have heard that he does fancy Jordan Allen. So will it pay off?
Absolutely not.
It's bold.
It's bold. It is. Righto, Jack McLaren is our next player in the spotlight. And there's plenty to say about this bloke. 3 times T10 player of the tournament. 341 runs at 68.2 and a strike rate of 217.2. He's only got the 150 to his name, but that average of 68 has certainly been helped by 6 not outs in 11 innings and a high score of 86 not out against Box Hill Blacks in December 2019. He was involved in that stand of 94 with Cammy Bliss against Smoko as well in the final for the 3rd wicket. With the ball, he's got 7 wickets at 17.43, economy of 9.38. Again, anything under 10 is fantastic. And yeah, what can you say about him really, boys? Top 2 lock, would you say?
Yeah, without a doubt. I've got him at 1. And yeah, definitely won't be after 2, that's for sure. So yeah, obviously 3 times player of the tournament, absolute gun. Batting stats are just magnificent, as well as the bowling's very, very handy too. So yeah, obviously gets a lot of height, long limbs. So yeah, really good for Jack Mac, and really targets that onside square boundary. So yeah, just well, all round great player, and yeah, he's got another big season ahead of him.
Yeah, this is his tournament. This is definitely his tournament. 3-time T10 player of the tournament. As a reason for that, very handy with the ball. Quite tall. He was coming off quite a run up down the nets. He loves his meds. Can chuck in a couple of spinners as well. The Surrey Park Panther did quite well in the BNF, I heard. But yeah, bona fide player of the tournament. Absolute lock for the top 4, even potentially top 2.
Yeah, pretty much agree with everything that's been said. Definitely a lock for the top 2, in my opinion. And he's just the all-round T10 player. Bowls really well in this tournament, and he's just a jet bat. And if we're playing the longest 6, he'd be winning it by a long time.
Yep.
He can smoke a ball.
He'd be up there, I reckon, with the most 6s for the tournament as well.
Yeah, definitely. Also to note as well, he's made the move from Box Hill down to the Dandy Panthers. So he's been putting in a big pre-season, smashed out a 2K time trial, and yeah, he'll be primed and ready to go for this tournament once again, and he'll be looking to achieve big things. Righto, so continue on the theme of T10 player of the tournament. It's the joint winner from last year, James Rizzio, up next. 152 runs at 30.4, strike rate of 178.82, and a high score of 84 not out to carry Smoko to a competitive total against the All-Australian umps in the round robin stage last year. He's got 9 wickets at 20.44, economy of 12.11. And he's got 2 3-wicket hauls, which I thought was worth mentioning, considering that there is only 4 wickets to take in this tournament. So I think a 3-wicket haul is something that's definitely worth recognising, especially considering you only get 2 overs as well. So his best bowling, one of them was 3 for 7 off 1.1 against EFL in the first edition of the tournament. What are we saying about Rizzio, boys? The skipper for bangers and smash. How do we reckon he's going to go this year?
I do love the emphasis on the word carry that you mentioned, because he really did carry us that day against the All-Australian umps. We were in quite a pickle, and if it wasn't for him, I reckon definitely would have been bowled under 3 figures. One of the biggest badges of the EBCA, I would have thought. If you took that $7 quote for the presentation, you would have got your money's worth. Top 4. I'd say top 4 pick, probably 4 to 6 range. Was quite instrumental in the T10 Premiership for the Smokos last year, especially with the ball. Did very well last year with his. How many wickets did you take? You took your 3 wickets, economy of 16.67. Probably a bit high for your liking, but one of both.
Yeah.
Didn't you catch all 3 of those?
It was thanks to all your catches.
Yeah, that's right. As I said, quite known for my wicket keeping. It was quite nice to put on that relationship with you. But one of the bona fide players of the competition.
Yeah, another thing is he got picked 7 last year. An absolute steal, I reckon. Should have been a lot higher.
Yep.
And brings just an all-round player in the T10 comp. Hopefully doesn't get absolutely bowled by Brodie Eccles hooping ball this year.
Yeah, interesting to see how he copes with the swinging ball, that's for sure. I think he'll have another good tournament, especially with the bat. And interesting to see how he leads the bangers and smash boys. Right, moving on to the man on my left, the skipper from Far Q last year, back into the draft pool this year. It's Jordan Allen. Debuted in 2019 tournament. He's got 8 runs at 2.67, strike rate of 88.89, and a high score of 7 off 5 last year against the All-Australian umps. He was very stiff that day. Hit a big 6 prior and then absolutely slapped one to deep cover. So who knows what could have been. He's got 4 wickets at 43, economy of 17.55, best bowling of 2 for 13. And just a couple of little side notes that we've got here. He's unfortunately the only bowler to be hit for 36 off and over in this tournament, in which Adam Davidson took kindly to him.
I'm getting my revenge back.
And he is also the only person to be run out for a diamond duck, in which he burned himself first ball of the game last year against Smoko, and it was actually Gurns that hit the pegs, and
I felt bad at the time.
and Superman was on his way. So what are we saying about the great man, boys?
Yeah, I think, as you said, pretty stiff. I did see that ball. We absolutely laced it straight to cover. I'm not sure who caught it. Who was it that caught it?
Adesha.
Yeah,
it was a very, very good catch by Adesha.
He was stepping backwards.
But even in the Ashes, I must say, he batted very well. Won that shot of the year for that lacing cover drive a couple of years ago. But with the ball, great role player again. Again, he'll be looking for redemption, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think obviously with the bat, quite strong through the offside, relying that there's no fielders at deep cover. But obviously, if there's 1 or 2 cameos where Jordan can get, say, a dozen plus, then that would be really, really great for whichever team he's on. And to get 4 scalps as well is always very handy. So, if he can replicate something like what he did against Brodie Eccles with the 2 for 13, that would be amazing, and could lead to a side getting premiership glory.
I reckon that's the first time I've ever heard you call him Jordan, by the way.
I think it's the first time anyone's called him Jordan.
Just been trying to be as formal as possible, but there you go.
Love it. How are you feeling ahead of this year's tournament, Jordan?
That's 2.
Looking forward to it. Waiting to get revenge and whack someone for 36.
Oh gosh. Righto. Next up, another boy from Far Q last year, Chief Destroyer, both in the backyard and on the T10 field, is Cosby Hale.
Well, hey.
The classic. We'll skim through the batting stats here. 10 runs at an average of 5, strike rate of 58.82, and a high score of 4 off 1. Most of the time, he's just going to play that role at number 5 and just come in when needed, really. And with the ball, 6 wickets at 23.85 and an economy of 8.31, which is the third best at the EBCA. And he does have a 3-wicket haul to his name, in which he took 3 for 9 off 2 overs against the Heathmont side in March 2019. Some great figures there. What are our thoughts on Cosby, boys? Obviously, one of the more dominant figures with the ball.
Yeah, obviously we'll sort of bat and float between that 4 and 5 position, and try and slap a boundary or 2 before the end of innings, and then obviously he'll be either in the top 2 with bowlers with the new ball, and I think that 6-wicket sort of stat will go into the double figures after the tournament this year, because he just rips through batsmen, and you'd hate to be a set of stumps when Cosby's bowling, because it's just very dangerous. So obviously can bowl as quick as he likes in the T10 tournament compared to the backyard, so that's right to his advantage, and I'm sure he's going to flourish with that.
Yeah, one of the most feared bowlers in the competition. Very, very thankful they haven't faced him over these years. I'm very thankful that he's been on the yellows. I think Nangle, Griffin and Dosman still having nightmares after the carnage that he caused in the Ashes last year. But I think the runs doesn't quite do him justice. I think if he's coming out at 4 or 5 and there's one in his slot, he'll just send it to build reserve. The stats speak for themselves. Economy of 8.31, very, very hard to get away, as you can't really see the ball when he's bowling. It's absolutely rapid. So potential second, third rounder. I think if he gets in the second, you're still getting your money's worth. I think.
Definitely. Yeah. What were your thoughts on your moves, skipper last year?
Yeah, he's always good to have in your team, because you're not a chance of dying during the day. He definitely loves the tape tennis ball and the no speed limit, because he can absolutely send him down with some full force. And he's coming out at 5. You probably don't. You take his batting with a pinch of salt. Yeah. He's trying to swing, and then just all round good bowler.
It's put on a bit of size, I've heard as well, because of his construction gig.
It does go pretty well. I think he'd give headphones a run for his money, that's for sure. Righty. Next up, it's the Doc. It's Luke Kukarusevic. Debuted in last year's tournament, and it was a day to remember for the Osteo. 143 runs at 71.5. An average that could have been a lot higher if he decided not to bat left-handed for a ball in the final, and it was cleaned up by a full toss by Jack McLaren. He managed 250s in his 4 innings, which is fantastic, striking at 216.67 and a high score of 73 not out off 36 balls in his debut game. Didn't manage to pick up a wicket and went at an economy of 14.18. Absolute steal of the tournament. I think it was said to be at number 10 in the draft, I believe it was.
Yes.
Great get for Smoko, and I think he'll be a great get for whatever team he goes to again this year. What do we think about him?
Yeah, I think obviously based on the performance last year, I think draft he'll go in the single digits, maybe somewhere between that sort of 6 to 9 mark, which would be great for whichever team takes him, because outstanding opening batsman, and obviously there's 0 wickets to his name, but I think that'll change, as he's a very good net bowler.
Yes, he is.
And a strike rate of over 200 is pretty amazing in this tournament. So to have just under 217 is awesome, and a couple of 50s to his name. So I think personally I'd love to bat with him, similar to last year, and just a genuine great bloke too. So
Ripper.
Yeah, still the draft last year, although he did give me a bit of a heart attack when he did decide to bat left-handed, which made me face that final ball. But still the draft last year, 143 runs. If I drafted him, I'd just stick him at the top of the order. He can just go pick. As Riz said, quite the net bowler down at Box Hill back in the heyday. So I think that 0 wicket tally will change.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And as I said, steal of the year last year, going at 10, and I think he's set himself as a very good T10 batsman. 250s is a pretty good achievement in your first couple of games in the T10.
Definitely. Right, and moving on to the Smoko skipper from last year, and very, very handy T10 player, Ryan Nangle, player of the final in last year's tournament with 52 not out off 22 and 1 for 10 off 2 overs. He's got 237 runs at 39.5, in which he has put together 250s, strike rate of 189.6, and a high score of that 52 not out in the final. 8 wickets at 23.88, economy of 10.61, very respectable, and a best bowling of 2 for 16 off 2 against Farkew last year. What do we think about this one, boys? I think he could be one of the best players in the comp, and he'll go very high in the draft this year.
Yeah, similar to Griff, just an absolute cricket nuff. Just has little cricket balls running through his veins. I reckon he just loves it that much. But obviously, stats are pretty amazing, both with the bat and the ball. To get 250s and nearly get up to 10 wickets is pretty amazing. I think he's going to have yet another great season. He's a consistent contributor to the group. I think he's been very successful in the T10, so success sort of follows him around a bit. Looking forward to Nangle's 2021.
Yeah, very thankful I was on his team last year. Very, very hard to bowl to and also very hard to face. He just puts it on that nagging length. Does love an appeal. A couple of LB shouts, I think, last year. Really did try to persuade the umpire. And even when he was batting, if you get him on his wrong side, he's a very interesting character.
He gets very
copped a very interesting decision, I must say. Maybe his upbringing, he was not a happy man. Number 1 pick in my opinion, definitely top 2. Loves to win, hates losing. So I think that says enough.
Yeah. So
everyone's hit the nail on the head again. It wouldn't be surprising if he goes top 2. Just by the quality of all-round player, and not much else to say. Yeah. Just good player and good fella.
That's it. I might also add as well that he's made the transfer from Frankston Peninsula Cricket Club to Dandenong to the Panth, and Warren Ayres has taken a real shining to him so far. So he's been putting in a good pre-season, and that was also shown when he reverse ramped Gurns at the at the nets the other day, and
it wasn't even mad. It was just a shot,
that was on our Instagram story, and he was pretty quick to put that out to all his mates as well. He absolutely loved it. So genuine cricket nuffy, and I think top 2, top 3 is definitely on the cards for him.
Did also get a mention in the podcast.
Yes, he did. Yeah, Pace and Pens. He did make it onto the ins and outs for the Frankston and Dandenong in the Premier Cricket trade period, I guess you could say. So, I think he was pretty happy about that, considering he only played about 5 games in the fours for Frankston. So, I love his work. He'll go well again. Righto. Just to round out this little segment, we'll just quickly fly through a couple of potential debutants that haven't played in the T10 before. We'll start off with Joel Smith. A proven Ashes performer, especially with the ball, one of the highest wicket takers in the association in that format. I think he's in the top 5, I would say.
Yep.
Just has a knack for getting wickets at crucial times, and just ticks over nicely. What are our thoughts on him?
You go.
Yeah, good fella, reverse sweep specialist, and I assume he's going to whip a bit of that out in the T10.
Absolutely.
Good
handy bowler as well. He can turn a game on its head, and that's been shown in the Ashes.
Very handy strike bowler. Love the bloke to death. If only he was on the yellows. I think might be a bit of a rumour that he might be making the move across next year. But reverse sweep specialist will be a very handy addition, that's for sure.
Yeah, obviously, quite a tall bloke, so could be very handy with the ball, and then also can hit a ball a long way. So obviously, no over the fence rule in the T10. So yeah, he'll be aiming for East Burwood's number 1 ground, I reckon. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, just absolutely loves being part of it, and we'll be looking forward to being part of the T10 tournament.
I can definitely back up that statement about hitting a big ball, as I witnessed him put one into the playground at Chandler Park back in about 2016, 2017. It would have been in a Malaysian touring under 16s game or something it was. So it was absolutely massive. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls something out like that again, for sure.
Do you reckon they talk about that in Malaysia? That game that we had 5 years ago in Australia, remember that guy just whacked us?
Yeah, remember that guy that just pulled out reverse sweep?
Absolutely walked us.
Mate, it was massive, absolutely massive. So, and hopefully Joel's on board this year. He hasn't been able to make the last few, so hopefully we can get him this year. Full debutant potentially here. Looks like he's locked in. He's very keen. Lockie Fane.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the Hall of Fame. Hasn't played in the EBCA before. Doesn't play cricket himself, but he's really keen to get involved. One of the best blokes you'll meet as well. Saints fan as well, which is always good.
That's what we love to see.
We're really looking forward to having him on board. He's been pretty keen. Pretty keen to get down the nets, I believe, as well. He's keen to have a bowl and have a hit with someone. So he's getting prepared for a big tournament. What are we saying about Faney?
Well, I think the only time I've actually seen him bat was New Year's Eve 2020. So hopefully he can replicate that into the T10. But yeah, terrific bloke, one of the best blokes you've ever met. So yeah, hopefully he goes well.
Yeah, look, I think he's going to flourish with it. So obviously, debut, he's going to be absolutely loving to get involved in it, and I think that's going to translate to some good involvements. It might be a little Reading stint with the bat, or a wicket here and there, or a magnificent catch. So yeah, looking forward to seeing how Faney goes in the T10.
And being on that New Year's trip, you could see he can whack a ball, and he'll be very handy in the T10 this year.
No, we're looking forward to having him. It's going to be a great value.
Cheers.
Next up, don't know a lot about this fella, but I've heard a little bit from Brodie Eccles. It's Tom Raymond. I did bump into this lad at the Precinct Hotel on Boxing Day last year, and if his chat on the field is as good as his chat was that night, then the boys are in for an absolute treat. So the word from Kif is that he's a bowler, bowls well, and he hits the ball pretty hard. So going from that, seems like it could be a format that suits him pretty well. Not sure you blokes know too much about him, but he comes from Mazenod Cricket Club, and we're keen to see how he goes. I guess the case of the unknown could seem be a steal in the draft. We're not too sure where he's going to go, but
Yeah, sounds like he's quite a capable cricketer. Just the word of warning with obviously trusting Kif.
Yeah.
Look, obviously, a bit of risk involved, but looking forward to seeing how he goes.
Yeah, definitely. Righto. Cal Thornton's next up. Hasn't played in the EBCA since second test in 2018. So it's been a while. His availability will depend on his commitments with Baronia Cricket Club in the Sunday team. So we're really hopeful that we can get him on board for this tournament. He's a handy, crafty bowler. Sends down some meds, nips it around. Pretty consistent. More than capable with the bat as well. So he'd be good. He'd be good for whatever team picks him up. You know a bit more about him than most Riz, so what have you got?
Obviously, if he's part of the tournament, I'd be predicting, a 10 or 12 not out little cameo, as well as a couple of wickets. So I think the deck's really suited to him, I think if someone picked him up and see him be involved with the ball especially, they'll be really, really happy with how he performs.
Yep.
Yeah, I do remember that second test being part of the Yellows. A very, very crafty bowler. So I think hopefully that can replicate into the T10.
Yep. You don't know too much about him,
no,
cricket-wise, but...
not cricket-wise.
Yeah.
Great bloke, so...
Yeah, good bloke to have around. And finally, on the list of potential debutants here, it's Tom Hughes, mate of James Rizio. So I'll let you do the honours about this one, Riz.
Yep, so Tom is a left-hand batsman and can bowl a bit, either meds or some tweakers, also left arm. And, just obviously loves his cricket and, applied a bit of his juniors with East Burwood and now plays at Warrenwood. So, I think if he's able to commit to the event, he'll absolutely love it. Obviously it's, 5 minutes away from his house and he's familiar with the area and all that, so I think that's going to be really helpful for him, and he'll get a few runs on the board, I reckon, and pop up for a couple of wickets.
Left-hander, I heard.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Gurns loves him. We're looking forward to hopefully having him. He'll be great value from what I've heard as well. He's a keen Premier League fan as well, so it'll fit in pretty well. Loves his FPL.
Yeah.
Touch yourself.
Right. And then just to round things out for the first episode here, we're just going to put in some predictions for the draft, what we think might occur. So first up is our predictions for the top 4 in the drafts. Who do we think is going to go top 4 in the draft? I'll start off with Superman.
Yeah, so I've gone Jack Mack to go first. Obviously, the experience and the player of the tournament speaks for itself, really. Ryan Nangle to go second. Kiff to go third. He might go higher if he can bowl, and that's the big factor. And Luke Cuckoo is going to go fourth.
Number 4, a bit of a wild card there. I like it, yeah.
Do you want to say that surname again?
Get fucked. Gurns, over to you, mate. What do you
top
think?
4, as I said before, Nangle, first pick for me. Play on the final for a reason. Second pick, Brodie Eccles. Injury concerns could push him down the order, but if he does overcome that, it almost potentially be the first pick. Hard to bowl to and very hard to face. Jack McLaren, T10 specialist. What more can you say? And fourth pick, I'll go with Brodie Eccles. Very consistent over the years. Makes runs and also hard to face.
Yeah, carrying on from that. So my 4 is Jack McLaren at number 1. Probably going to be 4-time player of the tournament.
Every chance.
No pressure there, Jack. But yeah, so obviously number 2, Brodie Eccles, very familiar with the tournament. Number 3 is Ryan Nangle, just obviously class with his all-round abilities. And I've got Brodie Eccles number 4. So yeah, I think Cody will have a breakout year with the bat, especially, and push that average even higher. So yeah, that's my 1 to 4.
Brilliant. And continuing sort of on a similar theme, we've got pretty similar top 4s here. For me, number 1 for me is Ryan Nangle. I think he's come into a world of his own now in this tournament, especially after last year. 117 runs at 58. 250s and 5 wickets. I think you'd be silly not to consider him for your first pick. Played alongside him at Bread and Baronia, and he's great value on and off the field. Success, as you said earlier, just seems to follow him, winning the tournament the last 2 seasons. The only thing you'd have to take into consideration is just the tantrums and the petulance that you might get if you take him. So be prepared to maybe cop a fine or something from one too many incidents.
That GoPro was very lucky.
That GoPro, I think you were at point as well.
Yeah, I was.
You almost copped it.
That was freakishly close.
Yeah. Number 2, I've got Jack McLaren. His T10 resume just speaks for itself. There's every chance he could go back to back. He's a fantastic all-round player. Number 3, I've put Campbell Gurney. Probably starved of opportunities with the bat a bit last year, but I think he'll have a bit more of a crack this year, and he'll rise to that challenge. And then with the ball, what you're going to get game in, game out. Lastly, number 4, similarly, Brodie Eccles, pending injury though. I think he's every chance he could go top 2 if he proves full fitness as well. So a very similar top 4 to most of you, but I guess it's all up to the captains come November the 7th. And on that, we've got one last bit here, which is which player do you think could fly under the radar in the draft? but proved to be a great pick, a bit of a value, a bit of a steal like Kaku last year, maybe a third or fourth rounder potentially. I'll start off with you, Riz. What do you reckon?
Thanks, bro. So I reckon my prediction is Adesha. So in 2020, he was the 14th pick. I think this year he'll maybe sort of be around the 10 to 14, and he'll definitely make an impact. So obviously a couple of cameos with supporting Jack Mack in the final, as well as his 29 not out. So yeah, I think he might even bob up for a wicket as well, or even a great catch off Superman again. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, obviously, I think he'll have a really good impact in the T10. And yeah, that's mine.
Beautiful.
I've got the same as Riz. I also went Adesha. Going at pick 14 last year just proved to be an absolute steal for the All Australian umps. Quite Ryan Nangle last year. All Australians had the best side on paper, just weren't good enough on the day. So yeah, that's my pick. But I think it also depends on the debutants. So you could have Tom Hughes fly under the radar there at around 10 to 16. Tom Raymond, we don't know. Can't trust anything Kif says. So I'll go with Adesha and possibly also Griffin Sprague.
Yeah, interesting. I'm gonna be boring and back the Adesha. Very, very underrated player and does his role really well. And if you get him anything 10 to 16, you're laughing. But also someone like a Cal Thornton or a Joel Smith could fly under the radar and do some damage.
Yeah, fantastic. Just to round it out, I'll go a bit more left field. I'll say Cosby Hale could be one that might slip down the radar a little bit just due to the performances of some from last year that might creep up a bit, such as Kukarusevic. I think Cosby Hale could go early third round, maybe late second round, and whatever team got him would be very happy, I think. And then, my sort of debutante pick, I'll back Tom Raymond in, despite what Kip said. I think, he could be a good pick. And obviously not seeing a lot of him, it is a bit of a risk to take him, but I think it might be a risk worth taking to go well in the tournament. So, that's it for me there. And on that note, that wraps things up for the first episode of the EBCA podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. There's going to be plenty more to come like this, plenty of content over the next few weeks and over the summer months coming. So thanks to Jordan, Riz and Gurns for joining me on the first episode. The draft date is for Sunday, November the 7th. So there'll be plenty of news coming out after that. And episode 2 of the podcast, where we will review the teams and we will take a look at the fixtures and make some predictions ahead of the tournament, which is on December 5. So that's it for today, and we look forward to catching you then. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brodie.
Cheers.
Over 2 months away.
Didn't fuck it up.